If you've missed any games or want to relive your fantasy moments, favorite moments from this year or fantasy moments, head over to LOLesports.com and check out our VODs spoiler-free. You can also enjoy league action from the different regions and the challenger scene. But now we're heading into our next match. It's Team 8 versus Gravity. And for Gravity, they are coming off a win over their former sister squad, Team Liquid.
Oh, yes, they are. They showed improvement in their team coordination as well in that game. They were able to dictate the pace of that entire game as well, playing to their champion strength in brawls while not allowing Liquid to set up their siege.
Right.
You know, though when they have run into problems in the LCS, it has been due to that disconnect between the shot caller Saint and the rest of the team. It seems to have been patched up.
And that could give an opening to Team 8, who slid into 8th place with Dignitas after a 0-2 week.
And Team 8 do put a lot of stock in their ability to team fight. They see that as one of the group's strengths. So if Cali can get an advantage in that top lane and lead them into strong mid-game engages, then they may be able to come out on 5v5s if they can take advantage of, you know, miscommunication between Saint and the rest of their team. Hopefully.
There's a lot of miscommunication to be had all around. We need to just get it out of here.
We just keep saying it over and over. Oh, people need to talk more.
Miscommunication, synergy, rotation. Let's check out the starting lineups on the blue side. It's going to be Team 8. Cali Trolls in the top lane. Porpoise in the jungle. Slushy in mid, Maple Street at AD carry, and Dodo on support.
And on the red side, it's Gravity. Up top is Haunter in the jungle, St. Vicious, mid Keen, AD carry Cop, and support Bunny Fufu. Now, while we are making all these jokes about communication,
communicate
a lot of times the things that people point out as communication problems are actually just problems that come from not playing with each other enough and not having people understand the game the same way. If you play with someone enough, then you will know how they will react to certain situations without having to say anything. That's the point that you want to get to. You don't want to have to be able to, you don't want to have to say anything. You just want to know how they'll react in that situation.
That is the sole purpose behind Ramblington, the video.
Is it?
Absolutely. Going into picks and bans in this one, Team 8 versus Gravity. Vi, Zed, Nidalee, and Aurelia have all been banned off. Few ladies and the gentleman Zed. So we'll see what these guys have. Some pretty good picks out there. Obviously St. Vicious been having some good games on that 5, but this still leaves Jarvan up for the junglers. No, it does not. That's banned out.
The thing is, targeting Saint with bans never really does much. He plays pretty much every champion in the game. So targeting Vi and Jarvan is just like the really strong hard engages, and the only reason to do that is to first pick one as well. So they get the last of the top 3 junglers at the moment. Saint should be fine though. Still plenty of options for him. Haunter immediately locking in the Maokai for top though. As I said, top laners have really been valuing Maokai more and more over the last just week in the North American LCS. And Gnar and Rumble falling a bit. I think Rumble is definitely still a really good pickup for Cali, though. Rumble does have a good matchup versus Maokai in the lane, as well as in the team fights. A little bit of a taunt here, calling out the Hecarim from Keen, daring him to go with it.
As Corki as well. Used by Gravity a few times, by Keen, by Cop. And it may be picked up on the side for Slushy in the mid lane. We know Maple Street is really loving the Graves right now. So it could be his, it could be Slushy's, but the Annie is also an option here as pick number 2 and 3 for Team 8 are being hovered.
Now, whenever Annie is picked up as a support, I always look to the tank of the enemy team. One of the biggest counters to having an Annie support for your engage is poke, as we saw in the last game, but also having a really beefy tank to zone out Annie and not let her get close enough to flash on your back line. So a lot of weight on Haunter. If Haunter gets fed, then it's going to make Annie's job really difficult.
Stop it, Cop. Switching around champions. You're going to get yourself stuck. So that Annie in the Graves is locked in. We actually just saw that last game as well from Winter Fox for that very powerful duo lane. Kassadin being hovered. Seen him get picked a few more with some of these junglers, and Nidalee now seeing herself on the ban list. So he may be locked in for Keen here for a little bit of power play after 6.
I'm actually curious. If they lock in Sivir, will we get to see the St. Vicious Olaf? He's been a pretty big fan of this And with most of the top tier junglers banned or taken away right now, very real possibility that we do see Olaf, who's also pretty good against Annie, by the way.
Bring back the Stampede, Kobe.
Team 8, though, still trying to craft their 5v5 composition, as that's what they usually like to go with. Already with a big bursty lane, as we saw, the Graves and Annie.
Well, I don't see like a Cali Trolls initiation yet. Obviously, Dodo can get in there.
He hasn't picked his champion.
I know. I'm waiting. Just so anxious.
What's he gonna make the plays on? All right.
So I don't know.
Cali Trolls as well. Right now, he's got the Rek'Sai for his team. Didn't see much with the Rek'Sai last game. Dominate didn't really take advantage of the mobility or early game knockups. Early game knockups going to be really hard, by the way, to pull off against either Morgana or Sivir. Spell Shield's really difficult for Maokai to deal with. We won't see the Olaf. We will see the St. Vicious Nunu, though. That's, by the way, one of the reasons why he replaced me on CLG, because I did not play Nunu, and he did. Rip. All right, Nunu's pretty good with Sivir, too, though, for mid-game. They're going to have so much speed. This Gravity squad is really good at chasing people down. That's where Kassadin thrives as well, chasing down people in drawn-out mid-game chases. So if Team 8 do not group up as 5 and they're not able to pull off the coordination necessary to work with a Gnar, then Gravity can easily kite them while Mega Gnar is up, and then try and re-engage once the bar runs out. So this is really going to put a test to that Team 8 team fighting that they like to talk up, and really test their coordination.
Crowd absolutely loving it. Team 8 is great, mate. I'd rate him an 8 out of 8. Yeah, look at that. A friendly handshake. Good morrow to you, sir, and good luck to the teams. For this match, if you're predicting a Team 8 victory, be sure to send hashtag T8win. Or if you think Gravity will take the win, send hashtag GVWin to @LOL Esports. We'll be counting your votes throughout the game, and it will be an interesting one. We'll see if Team 8 can pretty much, you know, they say they're going to be going around Cali Trolls, but also kind of want to switch that style up, and Cali Trolls doesn't want to get his team into trouble with baiting, so there's some communication to be had there, and Gravity really looking to get themselves up in the standings here at 4-4.
Yeah, I do like it this time around. They don't have to completely rely on Cali for the initiation. Dodo with this Annie. Dodo's been a really strong point for this team.
He has the Morgana play into pretty much a lot.
And as we just saw Imagine leading Winter Fox in the last game, maybe it will be up to Dodo to take up that mantle and prep a good Gnar ultimate for Cali.
All right, and behind every good AD carry is a good support, and Maple Street says Dodo continues to impress him.
I think Dodo has some of the best mechanics. He can actually hit so many skill shots, and I'm always fairly impressed when he gets on his hot streak. He can just completely dominate a game.
Perfect timing for that one. We were just talking about Dodo. All right,
how'd that work?
They do pass, though, without seeing each other. Keen's going to get the info for his team. They know Team 8 are deep inside, trying to lay down those wards to see if there will be lane swap issues. Pretty much mirroring here from the side of Gravity.
Well, Gravity, we've talked to Cop before, and Cop has been quite outspoken that he does not like to match up. He likes to go for those solo lanes for himself. So we'll see if he can actually get the lane swap in their favor on the side of Team 8. Right now, they have quite the numbers here towards this top lane. Doesn't look like they're going to try to bushwhack out of it, but they are just getting the vision they need.
Now, the thing that I'm waiting for is teams to feed false information. It looks like that's what Gravity are doing. Because teams always put these deep wards to see where the lanes are going, you can feed them false information. You know that those wards are there. So Gravity have just tricked Team 8. They walk Bunny Fufu by the ward, thinking that there's going to be the lane swap top, and they actually send their duo bottom. So good job right there. Gravity, finally somebody takes advantage of the predictability of all LCS teams putting these deep wards to figure out where the lanes are going. And Gravity are going to get their swap, so Cop does not have to match up against anybody in lane.
Nope. And he stayed hidden down here, too. That's his first CS. He didn't try to match the lane up on the first minion, so he was hiding the whole time, so they didn't give up their vision. Nicely played and nicely seen, Toby. Slushi taking a bit of early damage there, even for level 1, but he does hit 2 first. Keen respects that, giving him some space.
Only
the
takes
first
the
time.
boomerang. So
Not
he
the
dodged
first
the
time.
important skill shot there. The charm, obviously. Now, lane swap with a Nunu here. We'll see if St. Vicious can grab some early wards as well. All right, so they're going to switch down. What teammate have done, starting up on that top side and then moving directly down to their red side. We'll see if they can protect their red. Should be able to. So looks like it's going to be a 3-buff start for Team 8, and they're the ones facing the Nunu. Very rare to be able to pull that off. It doesn't hurt St. Vicious very much, though. Nunu can easily just continue to clear smaller camps. We'll see where he goes. Maybe he even moves across the mid lane to try and steal some back.
So saying this laning phase goes quite safe for Gravity, what's the objective of Saint for the team once they break it? What are they looking for?
Nunu?
The whole team.
He's all about applying his blood boil to Cop and then zoning. He's all about trying to zone this team. So it's going to be not only Haunter's job, as I said, in Champ Select, but also St. Vicious.
Okay.
That beefy front line is just going to try and keep Annie away from getting off a good flash tibbers. And they should have a good time of doing it here.
Well, keep an eye on Cali Trolls as well. That Narbar is going to be important regarding these fights. Just waiting for Slushy to get a mouse issue all resolved, and we will be right back into the game. Kind of need that going to mid lane. Helps the farm, helps to get that CS. And Slushy has actually been quite a bright spot in some games for Team 8. Huge in the game where they beat Team Solo Mid on that Orianna play. He was hitting shockwaves left and right. But we've also seen teams allow him to get that Orianna and then play around it very effectively. So it has to be a team effort by Team 8 here to really get their wins in. And so far, we've seen that only a few times. They're sitting at 3 and 5 on the season so far. So not too bad, and still have room to go up.
Yeah, and with them playing this lane swap here, Cali will have a bit harder of a time because there's a lot of threat with a Sivir Morgana combo. If the binding lands, they can get a large chunk of your HP out. So not going with standard lanes might be a little bit more difficult for Cali to get to that point to lead his team. You always do run the risk. As we saw in the last game, though, I mean, Quas outclassing Avalon just 1 versus 1. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the matchup going the other way. Let's see here, though, because Saint doesn't want to give up on the red. Team 8 tried to go red to red for that 3-buff start. Saint does not want to let it happen, though. I guess they're going to give it up. Even on the weak side, that seems very curious.
Well, they have the vision to know that it reset. So they're kind of just biding their time right now. Nice dodge by Cali Trolls. He's actually about to gnaw out at level 2. This is going to be pretty helpful. Saint's going to head in. He smites and bites it. He's going to be able to make it out with the refresh and getting a red. That's the flash in from Porpoise. He's not going to have that for any early game pressure here. And it looks like Gravity's going to be able to walk right out. Also pulling chaos from the whole team. They walk into Dodo. Cobb's going to get hit, forcing the flash on that. And Gravity, they could have just kept walking on that one.
Yeah, might have stayed a little bit too long, but it all turned out pretty well for Gravity. They did get the red buff. And Sivir in a 2 versus 1 having to blow her flash, not as bad as if it was the 2 versus 2 situation. He should be fairly safe. And since they have a Nunu as well, their ward coverage should be just fine for this bottom lane. But we'll see. Dodo 8 down bottom now as well. So Cop, without the flash and heal, will have to play a bit safer. And we will see if those summoners for the red will pay off. Saint coming right back, and there are no wards.
Oh, man, there's no charge as well for Dodo. He's got a few spells to cast before he can make that happen. They're looking to make it happen under the turret. Actually forces his flash. So Bunny Fufu doing some big plays as the bindings are just missing. So I think we've blown almost all the flashes here early game. Maybe the top side of the map has theirs left, but that was some aggressive early game jungling.
Taking off the flash from Annie, always a really, really huge thing too, because he's going to be looking to roam quite often early. And without that, a lot less pressure on Keen. And if Keen can get safely to level 6, and it makes it much, much easier for Gravity. They also have a substantial gold lead so far just from those minions.
Yep.
On Team Gravity.
Getting the swaps in their favor. Maple Street's kind of been taking this time to walk back to lane. He will approach Cop with a pickaxe. and that anti-power, but it looks like they're actually getting their back on it.
And the thing is, it wasn't even like last game where people were getting outplayed in the side lanes early on for CS. This was actually because Team 8 were focusing so heavily on that 3 buff, going red side jungle to other red side jungle. If it doesn't pay off, then you use all that time walking in the early game without getting any gold or experience income. Meanwhile, Gravity, they had people in all 3 lanes, where Team 8 basically missed out on a full lane of golden experience that whole time by focusing on the jungle. And we'll see if Cali can recover from this. Haunter was doing great in the 1 versus 1 up top. Maokai versus Graves, even going even in CS with the AD carry.
They really do not like to match up that duo lane. Cop and Bunny Fufu swap back to top. Haunter is going to go back against Maple Street in that bottom lane. Slushy here, he's been pushing in Keen quite a bit for the mid lane, but nobody really has too big of a lead. Keen's 38 to 28. And he just lost his flash to a gank in mid.
Yeah, Keen doing really, really well in this RA Kassadin matchup right now. I think that Slushy's just been missing a bit of CS.
They also pulled down for that fiasco out down towards the
right, it was the roam as well. Yeah. So not only did it cost them in the side lane CS, but they even called mid laner down for a while. So that jungle play cost Team 8 a whole bunch, and they didn't even pull off the 3 buff.
Yeah, it's true. That pink ward coming back for Slushy. He can stay safe in the mid lane and maybe go a little bit harder. That cleanup on that last wave gave Keen 45 to 29 there, so he could start getting a lot of pressure on that mid lane and start his roam as well with St. Vicious. Haunter back to top. Again, they swap the lanes over and over again. They love to avoid that duo.
And Haunter should be able to hold it pretty well. Maokai with the AoE clear.
Hasn't been having too much trouble so far.
Just try and keep his turret up for long enough.
He's definitely having a better time than Cali Trolls, 47 to 25. He's got his catalyst, so he just kind of hangs out, levels up, and he's good to go.
Plus, if teammates switch their duo up top, then the early dragons are Gravities to take. They're the team with the Nunu. Really, really easy for Saint to pretty much take that at his convenience. Porpoise, though, wants to go back for the red seal, so that should probably signal Saint to get some action going.
Setting up for just that, as you say it. Being nice, consistent damage from the Tormented Soil. Yeah, they can't even push Haunter out of this one. They may eventually get the turret because of the ability that Haunter can't take them out of lane. But it's ever so slowly. So Dragon for maybe a top turret here, but Gravity doing nicely.
And this is just such... Well, that was just a very poor mistake. You let it release.
Hello.
Cali jumping in. All right, they're gonna take it away.
It's like off in the fog of war, we didn't see the Gnar. That's gonna be Porpoise picking that one up. And a lot of us are left scratching our heads.
The duo is top for Team 8 because they spent so much mana and health taking the dragon. Saint was too low to keep that fight, even though they had numbers advantage. Quite curious there. Keen does not collapse. No support really from Cop either. Just keeps shoving the lane in. So the value of that early dragon isn't that high, but Team 8 are able to shove them off and take it.
Ooh. Not an easy thing to match that charm, but Keen was face to face. And the heal from Slushy pretty much keeps him nicely sustained in these trades. 7-7 here. Slushy, like we said, and figured would catch up in that CS, 55 to 56. And now he's getting the better of Keen. We do have a roam here from Dodo, which is going to apply a little bit of ward pressure. And may means Keen going down. Remember, his flash was down at about 5 minutes. He'll have that back in about 1.
I don't think Keen's going to go down here. He's got a bunch of teammates.
Not this time, that's for sure. It's going to be Haunter and Saint just on the other side.
Oh, Bunny
Fufu! The no-look from the brush, very nicely done. Porpoise actually uses the farm alarm, and I don't think he got himself into a good situation here. He's going to be forced to tunnel right back through.
Yeah, good job there from Gravity getting the roam.
Good movement by Bunny there.
From Haunter. And Haunter is just so much, with the CS lead that he got early and experience lead over Cali, he could just shove the lane in so quickly on Maokai and then start roaming like that. No ward coverage at all for teammate around the mid lane. St. Vicious on his Nunu, early rush into Sight Zone. Very, very common build, able to get a lot of vision advantage around that mid lane.
All right, so it looks like Gravity across the board is going to be doing Rod of Ages. Looking for Haunter and Keen to get those. Not yet charging. Back down to the bottom lane, 88 to 85. We'll see if this actually stays matched up. It's level 5 for the supports, so they don't have to be too worried about a huge engage just yet.
Yeah, and Gravity, right now, they're not really looking to press any issues. They want those mages that they have, the double AP, to stack up first.
Right.
So Rod of Ages is going to take quite a bit longer since neither of them have completed it yet. So they're just going to wait towards that mid game where they can take advantage of Sivir speed boost and the stacked up dual AP. The thing is as well, cautioned against Maokai getting really fed for Gravity early on is going to make Annie's job very difficult. Haunter's having a great start. So the front line for Gravity should be pretty beefy when they head towards the mid game.
Now, when these fights happen, will we actually see Haunter going for Dodo or just being a wall in front of Dodo and kind of deterring that engagement?
Well, it all depends on the positioning of that team fight. Yeah, can't say without seeing the layout of the battlefield.
Right. Well, right now he's in the top lane, 88 to 58. Cali Trolls has had his fill of pushing that, so he's now joined with Maple Street and the rest of the team in mid. They will get Porpoise now. He's just down below, clearing some wards, making some more tunnels. Looks like teammate does want to try and pressure down this mid turn.
That is bold for Keen.
Trolls goes in, yeah. I was going to say, he took the words right out of my mouth. Taking a bit of damage, he realizes the same mistake. Teammate doesn't get too much out of mid lane as Gravity also places pretty much their entire team here.
So they've also swapped down mid laner to the bottom lane here to match up versus Cop. In the 1 versus 1, Slushy trying to go down there. He does have everything available. So Cop's got to be worried about an all-in. They really wanted to get Slushy that side lane pressure and have Maple Street farm in the mid lane while also allowing Dodo to roam to either side. Now that they have Annie Flash Tippers available, they can actually start to take back some pressure around the mid lane.
This is great. So we're not going to match them, and we're going to put Maple Street and Dodo in the mid. Try to push these down. Dodo may get a bit of a roam on. He's going to back, hopefully getting Sightstone, get some vision on the map for the team. We already see one on Porpoise Pops. He actually just put that in. Farmalarn back out. Where does he want to go with this? Teammate not setting up too much, but they are hovering towards the top side of the map at this point.
Well, they have also picked up the Sightstone on Porpoise now. So after his jungle item completed, they want to take advantage of the power that they have mid with a duo.
Just making sure to push
and
forward.
Have Porpoise get down some deeper vision. You can see the duos running together. Don't want to ever go solo. Into the Fog of War.
Power in numbers, especially against seeing Keen fly around the map, taking these chances already. Don't want to get caught by him. 40 seconds onto the Dragon. St. Vicious and Keen are already towards that bottom side of the map to pick up blue buff for a hopefully easy fight. And those Rod of Ages are starting to charge up. St. Vicious going for the Glacial Shroud. Coming in for his second item.
So 23 minutes we'll be looking at for both of those fully charged up. Glacial Shroud into the Frozen Heart is strong against so many auto attackers. Let's see here. Gets the worst end of this fight.
Whoa!
It's not a 1 versus 1.
There's a whole lot of something, but they got nothing out of it, and Slushy's going to be the one to be able to pick it up. There's the Tibbers down onto one member. Keen actually takes that quite well. Maple Street now trading with Cop back and forth as the ultimate's actually only used by Cop there in the fight. And Keen comes in to re-enter. That's the Ignite. It ticks down. That's going to be Slushy going down.
So 1-for-1 trade inside the jungle is actually profitable for Gravity here. St. Vicious, they don't need much from him towards this mid game, but losing that mid laner and the double summoners on Ahri is quite big here for Team 8.
Yeah. Definitely leaves Keen in a lot safer of a position to enter these fights next time. But it doesn't really tell us too much about how an overall fight would go with everybody included. And it does look like they still want that. Cali Trolls in the top lane, pretty far from gnawing out on this, and his teleport is down. So he will not be able to participate here. Haunters is up. big advantage there for Gravity. Looking for any level 11s. Too soon on that. We're still waiting on level 9, so no level 2.
All right, so last time that Gravity had a man advantage and the Nunu, we were like, okay, there's no way that they're going to give this one up. But Teammate, they're still circling around here. They might just go for a steal. He's got a tunnel already there, so it doesn't even cost him anything. If he has an existing tunnel, he can just jump in, try and smite it, and then go out his existing tunnel.
I think he went in a little early.
He went in a little early. However, you should clear out those tunnels in the back of the Dragon Pit so that he doesn't have a free escape and make him burn his flash.
And it's cash money.
To try and get out like that. They do secure this Dragon, but once again, this is the third time they've stolen away this red buff here from Team Gravity. Team Gravity just trying to scale up a bit more, though. Not looking for the early fights.
Yeah, like we said, waiting for those rods to charge up. The BF sword in the hands of Cop as he starts to build up towards his Infinity Edge. Looking at Maple Street's bankroll. He's sitting about 1,600 right now, so he can go back and get a few more items to get his recipe going. Besides, one more wave will be the deal as the rest of the team is keeping it safe. They're actually still keeping Maple Street and Dodo here in the mid lane. So it looks like they're actually not worried about making too many plays themselves because they're obviously not going to have anybody walk up and get tibbered by Dodo. So Teammate kind of putting out what they're doing here for the next few minutes on the plate. Gravity's going to say, all right, we'll do the same thing and farm it out. So now Keen matches up with Slushy here in the bottom.
Last outer turret left standing there. Teammate focuses down. Also, it should be a very easy item path for Cali. Mostly magic damage on Team Gravity. So he went the early Hex Drinker, and now he's going to get the regeneration from Warmogs. Still, though, since Hunter had such a good early game, able to keep pressure up top, all he has to do now is get into Fog of War so he can provide a teleport for his team. Gravity can turn this one around. They do have top lane teleport advantage.
There's the pressure onto Slushy. He's trying to bait this fight in. Porpoise comes from the backside there. The binding actually misses. They thought they'd have the advantage. Concert with a bit late of a teleport, more to deter the fight because he's stuck in the top lane.
I think it was stopped by Cali, actually. Gonna Gnar out here. So, big win for Teammate. Not only do they pressure down the turret down bottom, but they also got the teleport down. And it's going to be them with the actual extra man advantage in about 30 seconds or so. Now, this is the big point for Teammate. They are the ones with the Annie and the Ahri, and they really want to start getting vision control of the inside jungles now. Oh, Cali gets caught.
Oh, Cali. One more shot from Cop. That'll be it, throwing down the Authority. So they start to get a few picks here and there. Teammate's going to have to be careful. Start weighing against them little by little. They are still 1,000 gold up, 3 turrets as well. So Gravity has not really been able to get on the side of Team 8 besides the time that they invaded the jungle.
They're going to try and collapse here. There's no teleport on Maokai, so he has to walk the entire way there. Don't think this is going to work out.
Slow going.
Flanking with Nunu is very underwhelming. He doesn't bring a lot of impact from the side, so it will usually be Haunter trying to flank, and St. Vicious should just stick with his AD carry so he can provide the Blood Boil and just be in the front line to try and zone out Annie.
All right, Slushy's back in. 3 people. Porpoise, Slushy, and Maple Street all have 1,000 gold to spend, and with nothing to farm out and pretty much no jungle either. They're going to go ahead and get those items in. Looks like we will get an Abyssal Scepter coming in for Slushy on his next item. He's piecing that together. Wait for Cop to come up with his next one, a Static Shiv. Get these late waves pushed out because they're lacking a little bit of that. If they keep getting pushed in, it's going to have a hard time getting these waves off the turret.
Gravity do have plenty of wave clear, so I don't expect secondary turrets to go down anytime soon for them. And they can just hold on for another couple minutes. Where we'll really start to see the turn is when Teammate do start going for that deep vision. Because Gravity, once to the point that they do have both rods stacked, they have plenty of speed to try and chase Teammate down. So Teammate are going to have to be very careful with their positioning once they do get into enemy territory. Because Gravity have always been a team They do like reacting to their enemy plays and punishing them for overextensions.
A lot of that safe play is kind of working in Gravity's favor, because now they'll just wait for the teams to make a mistake. They've already been playing safe most of the time. St. Vicious, however, finding a bit of trouble there. They're still just pretty much stuck on their own side of the map.
Cop has his ultimate available, but no summoners. He's gonna have to spell shield the knockup.
Yep.
Ultimate blown and pressure mid. He still has pretty good wave clear though. That's Sliver with Infinity Edge.
That's good to go. Definitely a good pickup for the composition. Once they get to these turrets, teammate is forced away immediately.
They have been able to establish that ward control on both sides of the jungle though that we were looking for from teammate.
It was quick.
They have the vision to work with.
Corpus came out with that early sight stone, started laying down wards immediately, and it has helped quite a bit. Gravity, however, they are kicking and screaming back here. They do not want to go down lightly. They're only 1,000 gold behind. It looks like it's been quite a bit more for teammate. They're dictating mid as Gravity goes down to get wards on Dragon, but it's going to be a fight for either this turret or the Dragon.
Cali looks like he is going to probably head back top and create the pressure at the turret as well to force Gravity to be the ones to tank up Dragon once again. Mega Gnar form just blown, so Gravity can easily work around that. They will force this fight, and it will be objective trade. This is a good call from teammate. Without Mega Gnar, they don't want to fight that Dragon fight. So once again, they try and shove up. They're not go for mid turret. They should just rotate up to the top turret because it's going to take a while for Gravity to get in position. They might be able to pull off a clean trade here. Should be able to burn it down.
Make their way out. Nice and easy. Very nicely done by teammate. Dragon over to Gravity. And the push towards mid. Let's see if St. Vicious and Cop can dictate this one. 2 Glacial Shrouds now built up. 1 for Haunter, 1 for Saint. Interesting buys.
Teleport advantage now for Gravity with Maokai ready to join. So, watch for the flash initiation from Dodo. Gravity's early game plan for the 5 versus 5 is to kite backwards, use St. Vicious to just soak up the initiation from teammate, and then once teammate have blown the Ahri ultimate and the flash Tibbers, they can re-engage using Sivir speed. So it's this 2-part team fight once they do group up for that 5v5.
Teleport coming in from Haunter, bottom to mid.
Cuts him off. They've got him separated.
It's cut off, but he's also stopped by Porpoise, so he's cut off. Keen actually takes down Slushy immediately. St. Vicious goes down as he burns down all the way back near the 2nd tier turret. And it is now 2 for 2 in a crazy across the map fight. Keen's now getting chased down. Teammate has actually been able to group together now, reassess the fight, finally get the better of it.
Yeah, and they should be able to gain turret pressure as well. They still have 80 carry, 3 members up left up versus just a couple of unhealthy Gravity members.
Whoa, that was really big timing there for Slushy to be right under the feet of Haunter as he teleported in, because having that ultimate plus the lockdown would have given Gravity the fight.
Yeah, what a big advantage here for teammate. Able to clean out the vision in the jungle as well. Secondary turret going down, so there's only 1 left.
Easy cleanup in the bottom lane for Maple Street, 241 to 215, so he's going to extend that gold lead or CS lead that he's had. Let's see this one more time.
Let's watch the coordination here once again. They still have Bunny Fufu is in the base here, so Gravity makes sort of a 4-man initiation. They do get Slushy early, but they took so much damage here on Haunter on the initiation. Bunny flashing in. Cop got chunked out really low as well. Extremely early on. Didn't catch the beginning of that. I feel like
it's all over the place.
Slushy got it down.
That was an intense fight.
Yeah, we're cautioning against the coordination issues for the fights with Gravity early on.
Right.
Looked like they weren't 100% ready for that one because Bunny was still walking from base.
I don't know if Cali Trolls could figure out what he wanted to do there. He threw the house sideways, jumped towards. Cop could get hit here. The rotation up for the team. Comp's going to be able to fight this one out for just a few more seconds, but it's not enough to do the damage needed. Over to Cali Trolls. Nicely delivered and gift wrapped over to Maple Street. 3-0-0.
Yeah, again, Gravity here pretty spread out. They do have the split push going, though. It was 1-3-1, so Kassadin does gain ground on the bottom side. Not a total loss. Teammate were forced to commit every member of the team up to the top side of the map. So Gravity will come away with a turret for their troubles and for Cop's life.
It's been hard for him to take down this mid turret. Porpoise keeps having tunnels either on the side of Wolves or just at Raptors, and always gets there in time with Void Rush to save it or be in the fight.
Yeah. And the team fights are getting scarier and scarier for Gravity. A lot of magic resist coming in for the front line of Teammate. Makes it very difficult. All that Teammate have to do is take down Cop. If they either get Flash Tibbers or Slushy is able to get good positioning with Spirit Rush, then they can remove pretty much all physical damage from Gravity. And with the tanks building pure magic resist, that seems to be the plan. So a lot of pressure on Cop's shoulders to not only spell shield correctly, but also position accordingly. We'll see if Bunny is able to keep him safe as well. A lot of times Bunny focuses more on initiating as a support with Morgana than peeling for his AD carry. We'll see if he changes tactics this game around, because Cop is going to be very important for Gravity to keep up.
Yeah.
Or else they will have a really rough time of taking down the front line.
That's a big, tall order he's got going for him, but we know it can happen. Sivir not really being one of the huge late-game tank busters, so it might be hard to take down Cali Trolls, but that's where the team comes in, and that's what you're talking about. That's where the positioning for Cop comes in. 2 Dragons to 1 here, 27 minutes in. They're 2,000 gold behind, but obviously not afraid to go for small initiations that can start to give them a lead. Bottom turret's pinged out here by Cali Trolls. His teleport is up, so he's going to go ahead and get a split push on for the team. This is Team 8 and Team 8 formation. Have Cali Trolls split, wait for plays to be made off of his call. We'll see if they can hold out until that happens.
Yeah, and with Haunter no teleport available, he has to be in the mid lane. So Team 8 are gaining the minion wave control down bottom. And again, Gravity are short range, so they're all about catching people out in the open. They do not want to fight up at this turret. Teammate doing a good job of pressing that advantage. 15 seconds though, there's an objective that will appear out in the open, and Gravity can use this dragon to pull Teammate. Cali coming over already. Gnar again, Mega Gnar used right before Dragon.
Right, good call.
If Haunter can avoid getting hard initiated on for a little bit longer, then Gravity can go after him.
Oh,
and they got Maple!
Maple Street goes over the wall thinking he had enough safety from just Cali Trolls himself. They do turn it, but this could go very wrong here for Team 8 now. Keen in the backside actually goes down to the hands of Slushy, and Gravity is coming up very big. Sangfishes, however, going to go down. They now group 3v3 towards the blue buff here on the bottom side of the map. Cali Trolls forced to jump out. Gravity reassessing the fight just as well as Team 8 did on that one.
The key member, though, Cop, as we've said, he's
the
still up. He's got the Blood Boil, so he's ripping
said.
through the team. Blood Boil plus his Infinity Edge Shiv combo. If he's not the main focus, then they have a hard time closing it out.
Pretty crazy move there for Maple Street. I don't think the team was quite ready for that dash over the wall.
Yeah, and Team 8 are the ones with really deep vision coverage, too. They have full vision of this blue side jungle with those deep wards. But another scattered team fight here. And Gravity able to come up with a Dragon number 3. And versus a new team, you always have to worry about those stacking up, too. Only 2 more here for Gravity.
Right.
Even though they are behind in gold.
Wasn't only but a few minutes ago we said Cop needs to get going. That was one of the fights that Gravity needed here to turn this one around in their favor. They're still gold behind. That was a pretty good looking fight for Cop.
Yeah, that was huge. If Gravity focus on peeling for Cop, they could do really well in the next team fight. They've got their Rod of Ages fully stacked for both AP members, and they've got the key Frozen Heart coming in. Zanya's already coming in, so they're ready to take one of these team fights now.
Yep.
And Cop gets a full Bloodthirster off of that last team fight.
Cali Trolls recognizing where some of that damage is coming from. Thornmail quite quick in his inventory for this game. Maybe want to be a bit more present for these fights. He will meet up with Haunter in the bottom lane. Teleports are up for both sides there, so this fight could come down to that aspect. as we have a 4v4 mid lane. Actually, Porpoise just off to the side.
Yeah, time really working against teammate here. Think Gravity, even though they're still behind in gold. Definitely ready to take this one.
Yep.
Monster goes back to base, ready for the teleport in as well. This is the point, though. Sieging up against the turret. This is what's hard for Gravity. Really what they're looking for, the only pressure they gain is if Bunny throws out a really long-range binding and it lands, and then they can combo a little bit of poke on that. Other than that, it's so difficult for them to crack one of these turrets. That's why they constantly are fighting over the neutral objectives, trying to get teammate out in the open. We'll see if Dodo can work around the tanks as well.
That's big for him. We did mention that in the early game, if Haunter would be a problem, if Dodo would kind of be a focus, putting himself in the front, or if he could get off a good initiation, being sneaky. Right now, they don't have much to be sneaky on. Gravity's finally done a good job of getting their own line of wards up here, pretty much past the river. It'd be one of the first times that they have been able to. Teammate has had so much pressure and control over the map all game long. Cali Trolls putting a little bit more of that down with the Scuttle Crab and some sweeping. It's all about the mid lane right now. Pretty much gated by objectives of Dragon and Baron, as both teams just want to find that fight. Or rather, Gravity's waiting for that fight. Teammate would definitely want it.
Yeah, you can tell Teammate's vision has come all the way back out of the jungle, and they have actually just been able to get their lineup on the river. Losing control here. Baron cleaned out, though, so they're looking for the bait. They don't really have the capabilities to tank it, especially if Gnar is not inside the pit, so there's not a huge threat for Gravity. They're not really that worried that Teammate are doing it if Cali's showing mid lane.
This could be one of those situations. Cali Trolls goes in.
They got the Sivir ultimate.
The team's actually not sure about it. That could be the callback. Haunter gets a good teleport in the middle of the fight. Now the team is going to be forced to follow Cali. This is what Teammate is all about. On to Bunny, Fufu, and Cop on the back line. They're wiped out. Fufu just finished that Zanya's, and he gets to use it once, but he still goes down. Now they're on to Haunter, being able to take the tank down, as the third one means the fight will easily continue for Team 8, and they're going to go on to the inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, they're going to definitely lose inhibitor for that. I think that was a poor call from Gravity to initiate on Mega Gnar. Sivir, short range. She gets right into range of Gnar ultimate, and then the combo from Cali. That's the exact team fight that Teammate wants.
Yeah.
And Gravity gave it to him with their Sivir ultimate on. They used their move speed to get exactly where Teammate wanted them.
And this Dodo right now keeping Keen from jumping in with that stun up, especially a charm from Slushy. They get out clean on that one. They lose somebody, but they're definitely happy with the results.
Let's look at this. So at this point, Gravity can wait till Gnar runs out, but since Haunter TP'd in,
it's not even that long.
They go straight for him, and he just immediately flashes and gets a great ultimate into a wallop on both Bunny and Cop. And Cop is down. After we said there's no AD threat anymore, Teammate clean up the rest of the members. There's a really good play by Cali to get that flash off when Cop gets too close to him in Mega Gnar form. I guess they maybe thought the flash was down, but even so, not respecting that Mega Gnar from Teammate, and Gravity definitely paying the price that time. They cannot afford to do that again.
I feel like it was maybe we should not, and then okay, let's go, because Cop had already used the ult. Let's use the last bit of the ult and get in. They got something they did not want. Now they're trying to recuperate, repair a little bit of that.
Porpoise, though.
This shouldn't be too bad, but Porpoise, however, like you're saying, coming in with Dodo just on the outside. That's going to be a bit of a fight back and forth, but it more deters Gravity from finishing the Baron, so Team 8 get what they want out of that.
Yeah, trying to do a little sneaky Baron there, just get shoved off. Not a huge deal. However, during that time where Gravity commit to the sneaky Baron, all this time, Cali split pushing on Gnar.
As always.
Getting beefier and beefier.
Haunter not really worried about this, but he does have to attend to the situation in the bottom lane.
So this Dragon right now, Teammate can easily pull back and grab it. They want to knock down the turret first. Mega Gnar pops.
Oh man, That turret is not long for this world. One more wave should be going down. I don't see too big of an engage here from Gravity that could really turn Teammate on their head. The Zanyas are finished up, which are going to be good for the long engaged fights here for Teammate. But according to the last one, if Teammate can get the positioning in these ones, it's all theirs, just like this Dragon. Number 2 for them, 35.5 minutes into the game. Baron still stands, so if they decide to go up to the top of the map after a big fight down here, it's all theirs.
Yeah. Cop has really got to watch himself in the next team fight, because we just saw how Keen does almost no damage to Cali. And if Cop does not kill him, nobody is going to kill him.
All right, Teammate communicates to go back for now. Let's see what kind of golds we have. About 1,000, 1,500 on Cali Trolls to spend right now. He's actually quite big already, and he actually gets himself a Banshee's Veil. Hauncher's had one of those so far. So just the last few defensive items here to keep themselves alive for as long as possible. We see that Maple Street picked up a Quicksilver Sash because he knows that's going to be big to at least cleanse some of the slows or possibly a Dark Binding coming in from Bunny Fufu. 4-1-4. He's been the benefactor of quite a few good team fights here. Not having to make plays, but Dodo and the rest of the team really getting into position. And the communication seems to be on point for Teammate this game.
All right, so once again, Vision inside Baron controlled by Gravity. They have the threat of the Nunu, but they don't have a lot of pick. They have to land a binding from Bunny onto somebody.
Oh.
To really make Teammate pay for this. Cali at half Rage Bar here is pretty much perfect for Teammate.
Just start chucking your boomerang over the wall. He's actually going to force the fight. He wants the Gnar out here. If the team can wait long enough for that to happen, it'll be good. But they're forced to flash and get into the middle of the fight immediately. St. Vicious with absolute zeros zones everything out. Hauncher's by himself. He's going to get taken down. And Cali Trolls was fighting 4 members of Gravity on the other side of the screen. And they're able to now fly past him and get to the squishy targets.
So key moment of this fight as Cop tries to clean up here, and they should be able to because they have Kassadin, was Cop spell shielded Tibbers. And Gnar used his ultimate only on Kassadin. So this time around, Cop kept himself out of range of Mega Gnar, and he saw Dodo coming for it. The flash Tibbers done, Cop was able to spell shield it and rip apart Teammate. So let's watch again. Cali's going to initiate here, but he uses his Gnar ultimate really early, and there it is. Cop spell shields Tibbers and then destroys Dodo. This time as well,
so
Bunny
quick.
Fufu, we were worried if Bunny Fufu is going to be initiating with Morgana or trying to peel the front line. He gets the Soul Shackles off on the front line, buys Cop so much time. Even though he doesn't finish off Gnar, they were able to take the entire tank line here from Teammate down.
Fast fingers on the spell shield, saving a lot in that fight with Cop available to continue the DPS. They come up big and come up with a bit more. Teammate now trying to get themselves back out, clean up the resources that they can. The game's 12-12 here as we approach 40 minutes in, and Gravity somehow still 2,000 gold behind, losing their turrets mostly. A few of the lane matchups did not go in their favor, but they are holding on right now in this game very well.
Let's see if Teammate are quite as anxious to take the team fight when they have no flash on their Annie or Ahri.
Yeah.
Actually, anyone. All Teammate flashes, as well as Gravity flashes, were blown in the last fight. So nobody gets through positioning tools for free. I feel like that advantage actually would go to Gravity if everybody trades flashes, because Gravity are the ones who actually have mobility just built into their champions and don't have to rely on flash to close their gaps and get those instant initiation.
Why are you seeing things
Gnars or Tibbers?
The Righteous Glory for Dodo. Other items like the Fuhrer Boots for Maple Street supplement that speed that they do not have. Or actually add, I would say, the speed that they don't have. 1 minute, 40 seconds on. The Dragon. Doesn't look like anybody cares about that right now. Who is going to be able to fight harder for the Baron? Cali Trolls goes in. This isn't going to be a Cali Troll bait. He's just trying to have a little bit of fun right here. calibrate his tankiness, make sure he's good to go for the next fight.
They have a big wave up top, so teammate, if they can get
baby.
away from the Sivir ulti.
Oh, baby! Yeah.
So they kite the Sivir ulti with their Righteous Glory. Big wave crashing in up top, and they can shove this wave up to the exposed inhibitor. But it's very difficult to actually get inside the base for them.
Yep. So good pickup for the Righteous Glory. Keeps teammate safe in that what would have been a pretty big engagement coming in from Cop and the rest of the team.
This wave up top.
Top turret is
got to be worried. That's
taking
going to take
quite
out
a
at
big
least
hit.
half of the turret.
It's going to have another wave there before this first one's already cleared, so Gravity needs to keep an eye there. See it in the pip, and this is all the freedom that teammate has to work with right now.
Sivir ultimate down is huge. Gravity do not want to fight without it. They should definitely respect the Mega Nod transformation. So they lose out half of the HP of their top turret, but that is about it. Vision control pretty much retained by teammate, but Gravity were able to sneak a couple into the back of Baron, so the bait's really hard. Basically, this is all about who can get the better initiation for the next 5v5, because that is going to determine the game. Also, with the front line here from teammate, both building Warmogs, it allows them to take a lot more poke.
Yeah.
The regeneration passive on Warmogs is really underrated, especially for the late game when team fights, you spend so much time just trying to position correctly. You want your tanks at full at the beginning of it, and quite often they'll take quite a few hits just trying to position. That Dragon, though, is actually really important. That was number 4 for Gravity, so teammate cannot do that again. Kali gets initiated on. Mega Nod does get popped.
Kali Troll is quite big, however, also has an Elixir of Ruin in the inventory when he wants to go ahead and pop that. They're not able to do much just off of Kali, but it helps if they can start ticking him down, especially in any form, or rather, he can't heal that health back up.
And this is what we see when we get two teams that are looking for the team fight in the late game. Nobody really has that strong split push threat. So they're just working to get the better vision coverage in order to pick advantageous ground for their team fight. Teammate have chosen the Baron. They're going to try and bait it once again. Blue Trinket does go off, though. Gives them up. St. Vicious really far away. They're trying to burn it down, but teleport blown.
Very, very scary stuff teammates putting out here. But Bunny Fufu getting caught out. Scary for him. He can't afford to Dark Binding just on a Banshee's Veil, so he holds, forces the flash. Corpus pops, tries to get an initiation as well. Teammate is looking very headstrong as they approach this fight. The jump in, he's going to be thrown backwards. St. Vicious is the only one that gets hit by that as Haunter dives into the fight, and this is going to be Gravity taking it to teammate. They're starting to kite this one out now. If Maple Street can turn around and get the damage down, it may help, but Gravity is just bulldozing through this one, past the middle turret, right down to Maple Street. They're going to get one last stun in from Dodo, but Maple will go down, and Team 8 was on their heels the whole fight.
Yeah, much better front line there from Gravity. The Gnar flash in, didn't stun anyone, and only moved back tanks. So nothing gained there. That will be Gravity's Baron. Unless Porpoise is a hero. All right, dodge the binding. That's step number 1. Now try and get past Kassadin. And it might cost him his life now.
Nope, nope, minions can't bind. Trying to bind over the shoulder. Oh! Dodges it. Very nice.
Underground.
A little swagger. That's a good play.
Yeah, it is just trying to distract you from what just happened, though. Gravity took the Baron in. They're going to run straight down mid lane.
Well, he got me. I am distracted, but Gravity was not. They are going to go ahead. Oh, my word, these turrets. They are just destroyed instantly. So that is going to be some scary stuff. Obviously, teammate has a better chance with all 5 up, but if Gravity can reach these turrets unopposed, they're done.
So look at the, this is perfect for Gravity. They have their front line up there. Oh, Cop, not only did he spell shield it this time, but he also had the black shield there, just in case Cop was not on target with his spell shield. Bunny Fufu had his back. And then, as you say, they pop the Sivir ultimate, chase him down, even after he runs out. He's got Blood Boil even after Sivir ultimate runs out, so there is no stopping Cop at that point.
That is scary to see them coming at you, especially when you think the fight is already disengaged. Gravity has other ideas.
Yeah, one of the big bonuses for Sivir. 2 good spell shields from Cop on 2 different solo initiations from Team 8. Equal Gravity having a couple of team fight wins. I mean, if you're going to do that Flash Gnar initiation, it's really hard because you're going to have to coordinate with Dodo as well. Good job by Gravity, kiting back the initiation and then re-engaging as expected with the Silver team. Shove on down bottom now.
Easily dropping these turrets when they approach, especially with the Baron on. Getting a little extra damage from those double siege minions on the back line. Not a whole lot, but enough to continue their poke on the champions of Team 8, and then a little bit on the turret. They have everything they want right now in their favor. They've been down, I should say were down, 2,000 gold all game. Now Gravity is up 5K, and Team 8's going to have to fight in 2 minutes if that 5th dragon comes up and Gravity hasn't broken the base.
Well, just look at the difference in AD carry power right now. Cop is bringing 6 offensive items to the table. Yeah. This Sivir is ridiculous. This is the end game of all end game Sivers. He's got every slot filled with a damage item, whereas Maple Street, he still has boots, but he also only has a QSS there.
Yeah.
So Sivir is bringing about more than twice as much damage to the team fights. If you do not layer your CC with Gnar and Annie and maybe Ari, or take him out at the beginning of this team fight, the sustained damage from a 6-item Sivir with Blood Boil, there's no way that you can even try and match that. You're going to have to use at least 2 champions to get near that.
And he just sold the Static Shiv and actually put a Phantom Dancer
Okay,
in there.
that is the end game of all end game. All right.
I was going to say,
there was one more change that he could make, and he just made it. So Cop right now is basically the highest DPS that you can get from an AD carry, with Blood Boil on top of everything.
His AD, 494 to the 376 of Maple Street. So we'll see Cop exploding people, possibly Cali trolls the back here. And it does not look like they got the engage that they wanted.
1,400 damage crit there.
That's painful.
From Cop on the minion. 1448, I think. All right. That's going to be hard to deal with.
Haunter and St. Vicious are all volunteering. Both of them, they'll be the ones to take that shot. This dragon is big. Team 8 could go and may have to go for broke here. Dodo with the flash up, and the Tibbers as well, but he's looking at a Banshee's Veil right there on the front line, and we were wondering how this would happen. Does he just walk by Haunter? Does he get locked up? Very tight stuff here. St. Vicious looking to Gravity, gets charmed. Will he be able to get the smite off in time? He goes down. The 5th dragon may not go to Gravity. It's picked up by Keen. Aspect to the dragon for Gravity as they jump into the fight. A double, a triple kill for Cop, a quadra kill for Cop as he lays down the authority.
Oh, well, they burned down the jungler to try and deny the 5th dragon. But once again,
Keen the machine coming up big.
6-item Cop, plus Keen is somehow able to get that while Porpoise is still alive. Yeah, Kassadin is packing quite a lot of damage, but that's definitely going to be game. They can run straight down the mid lane here. Congrats to Gravity.
Wow. Two games where we've kind of had a flop of the advantage. The team that was on the run to win the game is not the one to take it overall. Gravity turns this one on Team 8's head. It's going to be just about 50 minutes. And game 2 is going to be Gravity taking down Team 8.
511 CS, 13-2-5 for Cop. Ending that game. That is exactly what you want to see when you pick a new jungle. As a new jungler, you're putting a lot of faith in your AD carry.
Yeah.
And Cop, after the first little misstep where he got too close to Mega Gnar, never made that same mistake again. So Cop learned from the first time.
Never again.
The Flash Gnar ultimate caught him off guard once, but then he followed that up with 2 great spell shields. One on the Tibbers and then one on Cali Trolls. Gnar initiation next.
It was like Keith's learning process, right? You touch it, you get burned, you don't do it again, right? And the AD carries in general have been really showing up today. Coming into the late game, the AD carry positioning. Obviously, your team has to be there around the AD carry to help, but good game coming in from Cop here. And the rest of Gravity to pull in another win for themselves. 5-4 now on the season. They'll have Impulse tomorrow to go after. this has been a good win for them from being behind pretty much all the game. They lost that inhibitor turret, and then we're like, you know what? Let's turn things on.
The importance of late game team fights, especially on the current patch, ever since the preseason changes, a lot of power has been shifted towards that area of the game. And Teammate, still with some room to improve as far as their 5v5. You know, they really pride themselves on their team coordination, but if they aren't able to take out that main threat, the Sivir with Blood Boil, we saw how the team fights would go since then. And they looked a little bit disorganized, not being able to layer CC.
Right. The early game, they got their feathers ruffled a little bit. Slushie was pulled out of lane. We had the invasion from Saint and Bunny Fufu in the bottom lane. They were able to take over Slushie's red as he got Saints. And
oh man, the game started off so well for Gravity.
Right.
Teammate committed basically CS from all of their lanes to try and focus on this jungle. You know, calling out the mid laner and swapping people like that.
A little bit of chaos. Worked out well. Something like that, especially for Teammate, I was surprised that they were able to kind of recuperate and come out so strong in the mid game and show strong for them, because Cali Trolls was obviously doing well against Haunter, but he wasn't able to beat Haunter. We've seen a lot of the Maokai's coming out very strong. So props to him. Props to the rest of Gravity for all showing up together. They're kind of like what we used to say about Pobelter's team, right? Is if they don't all show up together, then it's not going to work. They have a lot of individual all-stars, but everybody's got to go in for the teamwork. Right now, however, we're going to throw it over to our guys on the analyst desk to help us break down Gravity's win.
Thank you, Riv. And guys, if I'm being honest, I have to say I didn't really expect that outcome given the team compositions coming in. I felt the Sivir pick was a questionable one, given the fact they were going for somewhat of a protect the 80 carry comp there.
Yeah, it's protect the Sivir, the 500 range, 80 carry. You know, it worked out though. Cop got a lot of kills on himself. He was able to play into the composition perfectly, because this is a comp that wants to fight you out in the open. They want to run you down in the jungle. They want to stay away from walls because of Gnar. So fighting in those mid lane, like really long lanes without walls, and you just stay in the middle and black shield stuff, is how this team operates. Because you can't break sieges because you have no ranged wave clear with Sivir not being at risk. And you don't have a way to siege yourself. So you can't break sieges or siege yourself. So they want to run you down in the open, then get turrets after that.
Yep, and the cool thing is this comp is, of course, good at running you down. Kassadin, Morgana, Nunu, Sivir, all these things are very good at that. What's interesting, though, is that Teammate presented them with so many opportunities to find good battles. Normally, a comp like this is not a good team fighting team, right? Kassadin's not really good at knocking out a Gnar, nor is Sivir. Like, the comp kind of shouldn't work from Gravity, but there were enough factors that made them win anyway. The biggest to me was actually their ability to funnel farm. Cop managed to stay more than 10 CS a minute the entire game. We heard the commentators talk about it. He's sitting there getting, 6 full items. Zephyr sells Shiv for Phantom Dancer, like the 80 carry dream, essentially. And that's going to win you an all-out team fight. Like, okay, Cass is going to suck, whatever. Maokai's going to tank, that's fine. Nunu, not the best Sivir, I don't care, because it's 6-item blood-boiled Sivir. Congratulations, we win some team fights. And that was a condition that Gravity made that Teammate failed to actually get for their own 80 carry.
Which is, you know, interesting given the fact that Maple Street actually was the first player in the entire game to hit 200 CS.
Yep.
So it wasn't like they weren't finding farm themselves. But things seem to rather slow down quite a bit once they hit that mark.
Right. It's an underappreciated objective in League of Legends is minion kills, right? We talk about teams like, oh man, they're up 3 turrets to 0, and the map positioning is nice, but those 3 turrets are worth 2,200 gold. You know, also worth 2,200 gold? 100 minion kills. Well, guess what? That's the kind of advantages that these guys on Gravity are getting, is a real CS lead that rivals multiple turret kills worth of gold. You think back to last season, oh man, they got all the dragons. Dragons are worth gold, which again is things that you want with the minion kills here. And we saw in the previous game with Team Liquid that they weren't funneling farm to Keith, and so Altec won the game single-handedly. While they were trying to funnel farm onto Maple Street because Maple was getting the most farm in the team, they weren't grabbing the farm from the other lanes. People are at 200 CS in a 40-something minute game, which is really poor sort of catching of minion waves. You're letting so much farm fall away not getting grabbed, and that's thousands and thousands and thousands of gold that are being given away for no reason.
Yeah, and the thing too is they weren't actually pushing the waves up like you were saying and then sieging, because they had the superior siege composition. And at the same time, they weren't doing anything. They're like pushing and backing off, then giving Gravity the fight that they wanted.
Right.
Like, it's like, we're going to fight you in the jungle with Maple Street out of position, and they did that multiple times. Calitrolls gets very aggressive with his engages. He's like, we cleared one wave, time to go, instead of pushing something that their composition had an edge on.
Yep, to your
It's a
point,
big failure in leadership.
Makes an even bigger difference when that 100 CS difference is one individual to one individual, because that's an actual item. It manifests as an item. And to your point, Irene, we're going to pull up our replay 43 minutes into the game, because it's an example of everything you just listed there. Over-aggression by Calitrolls in the engage, improperly chasing and putting themselves in a position to then get chased back down the mid lane.
Yeah, so we'll just start rolling the clip out here. And you're going to see this is the rundown composition. And what it ends up doing, Calitrolls goes really hard on Bunny Fufu here, but then everybody just repositions. Look at Gravity. They're like, all right, we don't want to fight there. We want to fight out in the open. Let's trail you off to the side. And then as soon as teammate positions themselves in a place where Haunter can reach the side of the lines, and Cop gets this really nice spell shield on top of his black shield, he's like, it's time to go. They don't have to worry about the Gnar locking them up. They can get to the back line with Haunter and run them down.
And it's just a matter of the fact that Cop is at a gigantic item lead and Sivir's no longer under threat. And when she's not threatened, she gets to do a lot of damage. And again, this is the rundown. This is what we talked about at the very beginning of the analysis, where, look, Gravity are good at actually fighting if they can find a battle that they can win. Well, they found a battle of an overextended Gnar who blew his ultimate, and Sivir has 6 items already, so of course you can win that fight at that point.
This is something I actually like to call a power vacuum. It's like when a Taric is in lane, it's better to hold your stun than to use it, because as soon as you use it and blow it on nothing, you turn the pressure around. So they created a vacuum by baiting Calitrolls all the way up. As soon as they were like, all right, we're backing up, and then that allowed Haunter to get the position he needed and allowed Calitrolls to blow his ultimate on something that they had insurance on, because Black Shield on top of the spell shield. And then they were like, all right, now the power is completely reversed. And I loved that from them, because they didn't take the fight earlier. He held on to that Sivir ultimate until the right moment when they knew they were going to turn it around.
Now I want to take a look at Teammate, because again, as we said, this was a game they could have won, right? Yes. They had a very solid team comp. When you read down the list, you have Rek'Sai, Annie, Graves, Ahri, Gnar. That sounds like I'd be very happy with that composition coming into a game. Their laning phase continues to be weak. However, the bright spot there was Maple Street this game in having the most CS of the game in kind of that mid-game period. But they're not taking they're falling into these incorrect team fights, which is what we have applauded them for in the past.
Yeah, there's a way to think about it in terms of decision making, where it's like sometimes the right choice is just go hit them, everyone press R, blow up the champion. Sometimes that is actually the best choice, but that's kind of the only play in their playbook, right? You have the ability to make all these picks with Graves ulti, with Ahri doing all these cool things. Rek'Sai can do all these fun flanks and whatnot. They had a situation where they took down the middle inhibitor and had a gold lead, and it's like, that should be a 95% winning scenario, where like, I have map control for sure, you can't contest because we're ahead, and your mid lane's dying. You have complete impunity to control all the vision. You can play for dragons, you can play for Baron, you can play for all the all the tier 2 turrets. All of those should be yours for the taking if you put yourself to controlling the pathway around that. And that is not something that Teammate did very effectively. If they can extend that playbook, they can turn those kinds of leads into actual wins, but they don't have that yet.
Yeah, and you have to set up the conditions for the fight. Like you said, sometimes hitting R and going in is the right thing, but you don't want to run when it's raining on mud, because they're just like, all right, I want to get in there, and then they end up being like, we took a fight with a poor position, they outplayed us. Like, that was straight up Gravity outplaying them and being like, we need this and this to be the conditions of our fight, and then they handed it right to them. Because that just blows my mind too, because Team 8 was like, even that fight off in the side of the jungle, Maple Street's getting flanked on, all these different fights where Calitrolls is going in by himself. They are not setting up the conditions of their advantage. Like, you can't break a siege. Go push turrets. Go push a turret. Like, you don't have to fight them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the right thing. Sometimes it's definitely the wrong thing. Sometimes you put the pressure of the possible fight on them.
Right.
That's what you need to do, is know what you can do and know that the enemy has to respect you at certain points and press that. You don't have to do it. Just press the thread of it.
I'm not going to lie. What I got out of that was that Zyrene doesn't like mud runs.
No, I hate mud runs.
Regardless, Gravity, though, pulling out a composition that a lot of people didn't really expect or would have assumed to have success, but they found success regardless. So a good, solid win for them. Now, keep it tuned right here because after these messages, we're going to check in on the conversation happening over on Twitter. Then it's back onto the Rift for Game 3, Cloud9 versus Team Impulse. Stay with us.
We're heading into our next match. It's Team 8 versus Gravity.
They got Maple.
Maple Street goes over the wall thinking he had enough safety from just Cali trolls himself. They do turn it. Now the team is going to be forced to follow Cali. This is what Team 8 is all about. On to Bunny Fufu and Cop on the back line.
Can we still win? We can still win.
They're so low. They're so low.
Or he's dead. Or he's dead. Grace. He's dead. Nice. Push mid.
The 5th Dragon may not go to Gravity. It's picked up by Keen. Aspect to the Dragon for Gravity as they jump into the fight. A double, a triple kill for Cop, a quadra kill for Cop. Game 2 is going to be Gravity taking down Team 8.